Has Matas Buzelis shown enough as he continues to shine in the Chicago Bulls' third summer league game? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, apparently, Joe Cowley is saying that the Los Angeles Clippers could be in on Zach LaVine. We'll break it down. Me and Pat are going to talk about it all and more. Today is Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcast. And Pat, let's get into it, man. Oh, wait, before we get into that, we do got title sponsors for today. I guess we should get a little shine there. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. All right, now, Pat, Matas Buzelis, third preseason game. Just continues to stand out in all the right ways. How do you feel about his third preseason outing?
He looks like he's the best player on the court, which is why I said it's okay for me to not see him anymore.
Yeah, and I also saw in the comment section somebody took a little issue with saying that, but they're just stupid. So
yeah, I mean, listen, stupid is as stupid does, sir. But at the end of the day, like my thing is with Matas Buzelis, I mean, I know who he is now. at least for this level, I know what kind of motor he runs with. The shot is not good. I will say that. I know he went what was it, 4 for 5 in the second game.
Not from three, I think. Was it 4 for 5 from 3? I know he hit a couple of threes.
Something like that. But hey, he got a little PJ Washington to him. You know what I mean? He can get hot and knock down 5 of them mugs. He can be off and miss the rim 5 times. But outside of that, I mean, listen, I love the fact that he's somebody who looks like he wants to take on the one-on-one defensive matchup. He's somebody that looks like he wants to be known as a rim protector, and that was really evident in that last game. Came away with 4 blocks in that game. Like, he wants to be on the court, and he's somebody who you never lose sight of. He reminds me of, finally, I mean, this is Bulls fans, you should be excited. I know that we all have this like trepidation with everything that AK does because of Patrick Williams, because of how a lot of the moves have gone, because of a lot of things that have, had issues and things like that under the AK regime. But when I see Matas Buzelis on the court, dog, like in my mind, all I can hear is Stacey King going, "It's 5 Matas out there." Matases?
Matas? Matai?
It's 5 Buzelis out there. No, that's too many S's. But bro, like he tries to make an impact on the court in every single way he can, in the steals, in the passing lane, in the one-on-one defense, on the offensive end. He's running the floor. Like, yeah, the jump shot may not be there now, but if you've got somebody who on the defensive end is consistently getting involved, and I think he will, even at a higher NBA level, and who can run the floor off of those defensive plays and get down on the other end and yam it on top of your head, dog, you got somebody that can play in the NBA for a long time. And for everybody who was like, why didn't we sign Javonte Green? Why didn't we sign Javonte Green? Let's see if we can turn, at least rookie year, Matas into that Javonte Green type of role.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think ultimately, too, like when you, for what Matas is, right, is that he's a player that, the question that I had coming into the draft was, how effective can he be if that three-point shot long-term never works out, right? That's just how I wanted to critique him as a prospect. He's just saying, hey, yeah, if he adds a 3, he's this, but how good can he be if that 3 ball never works out for him? And seeing him now in this level of competition, of course, all the things that translate for him, the constant movement, that's going to always create easy looks for him, especially if you have a point guard that can get you the ball when you're cutting and moving to the rim. Yeah. The fact that the dribble, bro, that people were saying that he needed to work on his ball handling, and I'm looking at it and saying that ball handling, like, not to say that he can't tighten it up and still improve on it, but it looks already pretty good. He has a nice low dribble that he's able to control. And then the finish, he's even more athletic than what I thought he was. Like, those are things, and the fact that he's active defensively, I think Buzelis is going to be a really good off-ball defender initially, and he's going to get some of those block shots and even some steals with his length. But I think as he fills out his frame, he's probably going to be, I would say, a competent defender. I don't know about lockdown, but the activity that he shows, I think he's going to, at minimum, be a competent and a solid team defender, and that I'll take.
And I think he just knows what's going to get him on the court.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, being the number 11th overall pick is going to help you get on the court, you would hope. It didn't work for Dalen Terry being the 18th overall. But hopefully 11, you can get a little bit more opportunity there. But what's going to consistently keep him on the court is an ability to defend, because you look around this team, I know it's not going to be a great team, but at least on paper, it feels like there's a bunch of guys that can shoot.
Yeah.
Kobe can shoot. Zach right now is on this team. He can shoot. Patrick Williams, very slow, but he can shoot. Right, Josh Giddey cannot. Torrey Craig coming back. He shot above 40% last year. There's players on this team that already fit that role. Your job is to figure out where you fit in, and I think that's where a lot of rookies don't really try to make their name. They're still stuck in that moment of like, well, I was this at this level. You're not going to be that at the NBA. You were the number one option in high school. You might have been the number one option in college. But for most teams that you're coming to, unless it's a like bottom of the barrel team, you're not going to be the number one option right away. And unfortunately, with where the Bulls are, there's too much talent on this team to say that there's a bottom of the barrel team. Now, is it the best talent in the East that's going to put them over the top? No. But there's too much talent to say that Matas is going to be the number one option the second he steps on the floor. Now, defensively, there's not that much. Patrick Williams, Torrey Craig, Ayo.
Yeah, don't forget Ayo.
I started going through the lineup in my head. I was like, that might be it, actually.
Yeah, as far as that you look at as the best defenders on the team, that's for sure. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Bulls look like defensively, man. But to Billy Donovan's credit, we haven't ever had really good one-on-one defenders. Well, we have, but he's been able to get the most defensively out this team for the last few years. Got to give him credit for that, except last year. Last year was the first time we dipped into the 20s, but we've been top 10, top 12 every other year. So,
no, I think he's got a good opportunity. He's got the right guys around him to go out there and try and be something. And to your point of, what will he be if he has a three-point shot, or what will he be if he doesn't? If he doesn't have a three-point shot, I think he's P.J. Washington, which is a solid role player. I'd take P.J. Washington on the Bulls without all of the baggage and Brittany Renner.
Well, like
if you could leave that away, that'd be phenomenal.
The more athletic Franz Wagner comps, I like more and more that I actually see when I actually see him play. I think he's like he's the. Somebody said this, and I got to steal it. They said that he's the Derrick Rose of Franz Wagner's. I was like, okay, I see what you did there.
That's pretty good. Franz Wagner. I mean, hey, listen, upside he could be. Franz is definitely heavier. Franz is almost 230 pounds. So upside, I mean, like if he could put on a ton of weight, he could be. But
you're making too many exact comparisons. I'm talking about his game, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Like he doesn't have to weigh the same exact thing.
Game is Franz Wagner like
that. I think it's a lot of Franz Wagner's game. And when you look at rookie Franz, now Franz has added some things. When you look at rookie Franz, very similar in the sense of how they get their offense off, at least to me.
I guess I can kind of see it. I'm not mad at it, but.
So what we're saying is Stacey King, because Stacey King still, every time we play the Magic, Stacey King still gushes over Franz Wagner. Hopefully now we got Franz Wagner at home, Stacey. Calm down, my boy.
He is still losing his mind over Franz Wagner. I think, to me, though, like, if he can't, it's the difference between having a role player and having a star. If he can get that three-point shot down, he could be a star. Right? That's what took Franz from being just a nice piece on the team to last season and the season after that, right? Like, or season before that, all of a sudden he was a little bit, oh snap, he could stretch the floor a little bit more. Like he can knock down that three ball, right? Like Franz is if you we're going with that comparison, like him adding that in his second and third year is kind of what, okay, now you can't just guard this guy in the paint. Now you can't lock him down. Now if you leave him open, he can knock down a three ball. If Matas can add that, I think you could be talking about a fringe star level player as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that overall, the Bulls, I think, with this draft pick and not Franz and Matas, it just comes down to getting you a player that you look at as a building block. worry about the star and things afterwards, but get you a guy that looks like it's somebody that you can build with, that can be on this team for a while. And he's shown flashes that it seems like things are trending in that direction. Of course, you want to see him at NBA level. You want to see him with that competition. But I also think that now I keep saying Franz, Matas, now him versus Patrick Williams in practice, I would love to see that for a couple of different reasons. Patrick can help Franz get, God dang it, Matas get used to the to a more bigger NBA body, and I think that Buzelis' shit talking is going to be good for Patrick Williams as well, because he's going to push Patrick Williams in practice. I have those guys in practice against each other a lot.
Man, listen, they may be playing against each other a lot, but I think it's not going to take long to figure out who the starter is.
Oh, they're both going to be starters long term. He's not going to start over. Buzelis isn't going to be a 4 right away. So
he's not going to be a 4 right away. But I mean, like, I don't know if Patrick Williams is going to be a 4 the entire time either. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but he's going to be on the team at a minimum. But I mean, yeah, they'll probably go against each other in practice, and that'll be something to watch. But Matas' story has nothing to do with P. Will for me. P. Will is who P. Will is at this point to me. Show me differently. Like, that's cool. But I mean, I'm sure P. Will has had players trash talk him over the last 4 years of his career, and it hasn't done much to him. Heck, DeMar DeRozan said, I'm going to smack you upside the head every time you don't take a shot, which I don't know if he ever did or not, but
that's so funny. Anyway, next up, we're going to be talking about a report from Joe Cowley, who all of a sudden has woken from his slumber like Emperor Palpatine, and reportedly the Clippers being interested in Zach LaVine. But first, we got to get to a message from Gametime. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually goes down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last minutes for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The lowest price guarantee or Gametime will credit you 110% the difference if you find seats in the same section for less. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON. NBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, Brody. Joe Cowley reportedly has said that from his sources around the league is that executives wouldn't be surprised if the Los Angeles Clippers end up a destination for Zach LaVine either before the season or at the trade deadline. How you feeling, Pat?
You know what's funny is when I saw this, it was literally like, oh, okay, the Clippers are a team to watch. This is a Clippers move. That's a very Clippers move, right? The team doesn't want the guy, and nobody else wants him, but the Clippers want him. We talk about Zach LaVine or James Harden. Like
Spider-Man meme. Spider-Man meme.
Right. They're just pointing at each other. I mean, like, bro, like this is a very Clippers move. As far as, you know, I mean, I guess cap wise, they could kind of try and make some things work with that as well. And I could see them going out after a player like Zach LaVine because you're trying to pair a really good scorer with a really good facilitator in James Harden and another really good scorer in Kawhi Leonard, who, I mean, listen, I think the Clippers also just did a good job clearing some things up and putting the onus of sending Kawhi Leonard home on Team USA when they dropped their little nugget there, the little newsletter that or press release on, you know, we were disappointed. Kawhi was cooking and Team USA just didn't want him. So whatever that means, I assume that means that at least, though, that Kawhi Leonard is healthy and you're trying to get him a running mate. Before the season would be interesting. During the season, I think I could see it.
Yeah, before the season, I don't think anything's coming before the season personally. I think ultimately The Clippers, who've made some changes, they add Derrick Jones Jr., they added Kevin Porter Jr. as well to their teams. I think they're going to want to see how those guys mesh with what they have before they make a decision. But they are a team that we know that they lost PG, so they could be looking to add something. They're moving into a new stadium. They have an aggressive owner that just wants to make the playoffs, wants to get this team as close to contending as possible. Yeah. I can definitely see the Clippers being one of those teams that could be in on a Zach LaVine trade at the trade deadline after they've had some time to look at some other things. I just don't think it's going to be this thing that all of a sudden at the last minute in training camp, we're going to get a Zach LaVine trade and he's no longer going to be on the Chicago Bulls. At this point, I feel resigned to the fact and comfortable in saying that Zach LaVine is going to be a Chicago Bull at the start of the season.
Do you think he's a training camp move, or do you think he's maybe just a move that 10 games into the season, 20 games into the season, training? Did I say training camp move? I'm in football mode. You think he's a trade deadline move, or is he somebody who the Bulls are trying to move actively early on in the season?
Oh, I think listen, the Bulls will move Zach LaVine yesterday if somebody called them from the past with the trade that they take. Like, I think that's the case. I just think that at this point in the season, the Bulls are probably still listening if a team wants to call, but at this point in the season, it's probably, well, in the offseason, it's probably going to go to a trade deadline. Or maybe it's not the trade. I just don't think it happens before the season is what I'll say. Because maybe a month into the season, the Clippers look at this and say, yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. lost his touch. He sucks. We need a little bit of extra scoring. I can see it happen. I just don't think it happens before the tip-off of the season is basically what I'm saying.
It still amazes me, the fall-off, man. Like, how many teams have we talked about that literally are like, we're going to exhaust every single option we can before we go out and try and trade for Zach LaVine? Like, the fall-off is amazing for Zach LaVine. I saw some LaVine fans in the comments who were losing their minds that we're talking about trading Zach LaVine, and how could you do that? It was DeMar DeRozan's fault that Zach LaVine fell off. Well, it wasn't DeMar DeRozan's fault that Zach LaVine couldn't stay on the court. You know what I mean?
And it wasn't DeMar DeRozan's fault that, and I get it, people with the it was a great stat. What it was like 76 of Zach LaVine's 110 teammates or something like that aren't in the NBA anymore. I get that. But what we're seeing and what that stat still tells me, regardless of that, is that Zach LaVine isn't a star. And that's fine. He's a damn good scorer. And he could be really good in that role, depending on what type of team. That was a burp. Don't worry about that.
I know what was going on. I got nervous.
What type of team he goes to, but it still solidifies the fact that Zach LaVine is not a star level player. He's a player that can be really, really good at what you're doing. Like me and Pat have said several times, if Zach LaVine's your third, you're probably a championship contender. If he's your second, and you clearly got not a 1A, 1B situation, a clear cut one, you're pretty good off there too if you got solid role players around it. So I think that's what that still tells me. Okay, yeah, Zach LaVine's a lot of his teammates, because we know this Bulls team didn't put a lot of great stuff around him. But still, when you look at what that team was, Zach LaVine is just not a team that a player that by himself can elevate you into playoff contention. And that's fine. There's probably only like 5 of those in the league.
Yeah. So. And that's the thing, right? Like, that's a perfect way to say it. Like, I think everybody sees you got to bring your brains into the modern NBA. I think everybody sees the 25 points per game. They see the scoring ability. They see the ability to go out there and be a solid rebounder, be an okay defender when he actually puts his mind to it. And they look at that and they're like, that is a star in this league. And it's like, scoring don't matter that much no more. Like, it's the most important thing, but it's not the thing that you can separate your stars by anymore. It used to be when Jordan was putting up 30 points a game, it was like...
Yeah, because the league was scoring 92 points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that dude's putting up a third of the points. That's a star. Cade Cunningham scores 25. He don't average 25, but he can score 25. Like, there's a lot of dudes in this league now that can put up the points that Zach LaVine does. And I think the most important part of this, and with the, kind of where we're at, where we're kind of at the mercy of the Clippers, is kind of like, if it's a last-ditch effort, if you're going to move him at all this season, that maybe the Clippers are a team to come into play here. But it speaks to the fact that they're like, yeah, he could be the third guy on this team, putting up 25 points a game, versus being the number one guy on the Chicago Bulls, putting up 25 points a game. It just the points have to go towards something. And unfortunately, with Zach LaVine, rarely do the points go towards wins.
Yeah, and again, and two things can be true at the same time. We could still say that he's been on a lot of crappy Bulls teams the majority of his career.
Been on some bad Timberwolves teams too. Them was trash.
Yeah, that was a trash team. But yeah, ultimately it just comes down. I wouldn't be overly surprised with if the Clippers come back in on a Zach LaVine deal. But that leads us to the last topic for today, Pat. Is there anything on the Clippers that entices you that could come over here, or is it more of a we're just getting out of a Zach LaVine trade? Give us the matching salary, make sure it's not long term, and we're cool. Like where are you at with the Clippers aspect of this? Is there anything there that you think is worth something?
What's the Clippers draft capital looking like right now?
It's not good, bro. It's not good,
I was gonna say. I mean, like they can't have a ton of draft picks on this team. They don't. So
they actually have a first round draft pick every year between now and 2028. The thing is, though, is that they're picking 2025. OKC can swap picks if it's worse than theirs.
Yeah.
The 2026 pick, they actually have the OKC Thunder's pick. 2027, they have their own pick, or they have their own pick. But if it's worse than the Denver Nuggets pick, the Denver Nuggets can take that pick.
So
they got a lot of seconds, though. They got a lot of second round picks.
Yeah, a lot of second round picks. All of their picks are protected. I mean, as far as what I'd want back from the team, I'd take a guy like a Terrence Mann, right? Like there's some role players I'd take. Give me back DJJ. I want DJJ.
Hey, honestly, DJJ with Josh Giddey running.
I want DJJ back. Give me back.
Running the point.
Hey, poor DJJ. DJJ don't want to come back. No, I finally got to play shooting guard. I don't want to play center. I don't know, man. The Clippers got a lot of players on there that like they're not bad players, but like, do I really want them in a Bulls uniform? Because they all got the same problem. Like, technically, a good chunk of their roster is talented, but you know they're all gonna play 50 games. You know that they're
wait, hold on.
What you got?
Would you Zubac, PJ Tucker, Trey Mann, or Terrence Mann, because it's not Trey. And we got to send them the ball-headed hoe back. Would you do that trade?
The fact that you go ball-headed hoe on that is nuts. Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Okay.
In a heartbeat. And to me, I think Terrence Mann has been completely underutilized over there. Like, and Terrence Mann is one of those mugs where, like, in your mind, he's the same age as Tyrese Maxey, but he's not.
No, he's 28 years old.
Terrence Mann is 28?
28 years old.
Dog. Hey, I thought Terrence Mann was like 32. He been on the bench for 400 years.
Hey, bro, he's one of those people. He's one of those ultimate what if players, because every time you see him, you're like, I really thought your career would be better than this by now. It's not your fault. It's not just your fault, but
bro, yeah. I really don't think it's his fault. Literally every time he gets an opportunity to like start and get actual tick and actually play more, he's a really good player. And then the Clippers will be like, no, you're not starting no more, bro. You come off the bench real quick. But I'd take him. I mean, Terrence Mann, solid bench PG. Right now, he's not going to start here. I'd take Josh Giddey over. Solid bench PG. You said Ivan Zubac? Yeah, sure. He can run the floor. I like Zubac as a big. I don't know if he's going to play 82 games or 65. But I like Zubac as a big. And then PJ Tucker, yeah, you always need a dude that can beat some people up. He can knock down that corner three.
The way you casually threw out to beat people up there is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. PJ Tucker going to throw hands, bro.
That's funny. In 156 games as a starter, Terrence Mann has averaged 10.3 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and almost 50% shooting from the field. That's actually really solid numbers for a role player.
Solid numbers, dude, for a dude that's just like, hey, come in and figure it out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because they always literally go, who can we bring in to take his job?
You're showing a little promise there. We like you. You showed a little promise there, but we're replacing you. That's what basically that is. Like,
that can't catch a break, bro. He literally, but like, remember there was that rotating lineup that was always that. It was like Terrence Mann. They had Shea for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it was just like, hey, bro, like maybe put these other dudes in that are younger and might be on your team for a little while.
No, why do that? That don't make any sense.
Bro, James Harden, bro. Come on now.
Russell Westbrook. What you
Might
mean?
I interest you in Lamar Odom? No, that was too far back.
Patrick Beverly.
But no, man, to me, like I said, I think at this point, it's like I've said the entire time, at this point, whatever you can get back for Zach LaVine, if you can get back 3 players that play basketball and like fit a role, you won. And it sucks to say that you're at that point.
That's the point that we're at. If you can get back 3 basketball players that can play a role, are healthy, and have their full meniscus, we may need it for Lonzo Ball, we'll take the trick.
Yeah. I just thought about that. You're not giving up no more meniscuses for Lonzo Ball, bro. Lonzo don't get no more.
Not even a PJ Tucker meniscus. You know that meniscus got to be durable,
bro. Lonzo. Nah, PJ need them for the shoes, bro. You gotta have a good meniscus for as many shoes as he walking in, bro. I'm not doing it.
The shoe house is wild, bro.
The shoe house is nuts, bro. Ain't it in Miami,
crazy, bro?
This man I got a guy. I call him. He goes to the house. He gets the shoes. Then he comes back. First off, the organization, they got to be in the shoe house.
They got to be immaculate, bro. Because imagine if you spent the time getting the shoe, you take it back, and he's like, that's actually not the same, the colorway. You got the black, white, and red ones. I said get the red, black, and white ones. What are you doing, bro?
I gotta fight him. I don't care how small I am, bro. You gotta swing, dog.
Go ahead and get us up out of here, Pat. That's crazy.
Or you make the mistake one time and then you just show up with 10 pairs of shoes every time he calls. It's like he got all the colorways. Like, no, you getting every version of this.
That's hilarious, man.
Hey, man, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button. Stop playing with us.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We're free and available every Monday through Friday. You can also catch us on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, Odyssey, Fire TV as well.
You good there, my boy? Did you freeze right there, dog?
Yeah, both of us did. I couldn't see you either.
Oh, well.
But for Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out, y'all. Peace. JV out. Throwback.